Now at 5:30, a concerning bacteria found in a Norwich nursing home. Luke Hydash is your reporter covering New London County. He is live outside Norwich Town Rehab with what we know about the discovery of Legionella. Luke.
Stephanie, Legionella is bacteria. The average healthy person who comes in contact with it typically will not become sick, but it can lead to things like Legionnaire's disease for some people, which can be serious. Norwich Town Rehab and Care Center has 120 beds. The facility is dealing with a case of Legionella bacteria. Dr. Ulysses Wu is Hartford Healthcare's chief epidemiologist.
If they acquired this from, let's say, a facility, then you have to worry that it could be widespread in the facility, or it could be at least present in whatever their water sources may be.
The bacteria is often found in water. No word on the source in this particular case. In 2025, the state saw 167 cases of Legionnaire's disease, 22, 7, and 15 in the last 3 months of the year.
Well, there's a number of places that this person could have acquired it. It's not transmitted from person to person.
Symptoms include cough, shortness of breath, headache, muscle aches, and fever. Smokers or those with a weakened immune system are more at risk. It's treated with antibiotics.
It's usually 2 to 10 days after they've been exposed to contaminated water or soil.
The nursing home says it is taking steps to keep other residents and staff safe. Dr. Wu says that cases do happen year-round, but are most common in late summer. Your reporter live in Norwich, Luke Hydash, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.